A few days ago, CD Projekt Red had a 25-minute live stream called Night City Wire focused on Cyberpunk 2077. A ton of news came out from that, as well as the perspectives of those lucky few individuals that got to play a 4-hour intro to the game, which basically just covers the prologue. So, let's get right into it. The live stream started with a brand new trailer from Cyberpunk 2077 that encompassed only the prologue, which gives an idea to how massive this game is. They then confirmed if you have PS4 or Xbox One versions of the game that you get a free upgrade to PS5 and Xbox Series X respectively. And then they went over a new mechanic called the Braindance. Essentially, it's kind of a VR version of somebody else's memories and perceptions, so you can kind of dig into it. Cool mechanic, but to be honest, it was a little slow for kind of such a hyped up reveal, I kind of felt. But then they talked also about Cyberpunk EdgeRunnders. It's an anime they're doing in collaboration, and it will be coming to Netflix in 2022, so we got some time, but pretty stoked for that. More importantly, though, was everyone's opinions that got to actually play the game and talk about it. They were not allowed to record anything, screen share, anything like that. But there were a lot of perspectives that came out of that. I'm going to kind of break this down into character creation, progression, environment, and then perspective. First up, we have character creation, which includes even teeth customization, which I think might be a first for any RPG that I've ever played. And then, of course, as many know, genital customization. A few different options there, as well as a slider for size. It was grayed out during the actual playthrough, though, for everybody, so unfortunately they didn't get to experience quite the full customization, unfortunately. More importantly, though, was the life path that you select that kind of builds the backstory for your character. You have 3 options here. You have street kid, corporate agent, or wandering nomad. And depending on what you actually select, you start in a very different part of the game and have a whole different experience. Some have even suggested that that might alter the entire game throughout, so should be interesting to see. Next up, we have progression. Of course, we've already seen some demos there that you can obviously have different playstyles, whether it's stealth and tactical, or just brute strength, or guns a-blazing. They have confirmed that there are crafting options. Those weren't in the playthrough, but that was confirmed. And that quests are very dynamic, that you can have potentially 7 different outcomes on the quest that you're going through. The optional objectives even make a difference of if you do them, or even what order you do them in. So it sounds like there's a lot of content replayability there. Gunplay also allegedly has felt good, and that you actually level up your weapons. The more you use a certain type of weapon, the more proficient you become with it, the quicker you can draw, aim, all that sorts of stuff. Next up is environment, which from most accounts is actually the most compelling portion of this game. It's an incredibly detailed, rich environment that you can just kind of get lost in looking around. For perspective, 1 hour of playtime equals 8 hours in-game time. You can cycle the time, similar to Witcher 3. One of the surprising things is, though, there's no loading screens at all when doing that, which is kind of unreal to me for at least current-gen systems. The population density of how many people are out on the street and driving around, things like that, actually changes depending on the time of day, too, to be a little more realistic. Vehicles are in the game. You can, it sounds like, steal pretty much any car you want, although not quite as easily as GTA. It sounds like it does take more force depending on the situations, but they really do gear you towards having your own car, upgrading that, and following along with that, rather than just jacking any car that you see on the street. Some have even said that they feel this is the most detailed open world game ever made. So if that doesn't get you excited, I honestly don't know what does. And then what I found super intriguing was the perspective of the game. As you may know, it is a first-person only game. A lot of people were not too excited about that, especially being used to games like Fallout and The Witcher, which can be easily played in third person, honestly giving you kind of an advantage in a lot of scenarios. This game, though, doesn't train your focus away from what you're looking. Apparently, very few times in the entire game do they actually ever force your perspective and make you look at something. As far as cutscenes, apparently there are also only a handful in the entire game, so it really gives your character a sense of agency and their actual place in the world, rather than just watching things unfold and having things forced on them. And one of the cool features about the perspective is that the UI actually changes depending on what cybernetic enhancements you have. So for example, knowing how much ammo you have in your gun, you need an upgrade to actually be able to see that. So I'm very excited to see the range and diversity of those UIs. And then, obviously, a lot of praise about this game. I have seen multiple perspectives of its kind of tempered expectations, because honestly, the hype level of this game right now is kind of off the charts, so it's good to know that it is a game. There are things out there that won't be amazing and perfect and earth-shattering. There are also bugs. Of course, this is an early playthrough demo, so that's to be expected. Depending on those players' perspectives, though, it's either they kind of see that it could probably get delayed again, or that, hey, they still got several months to work through the final kinks of it. So, tentatively, it's coming out November 19th. As you know, it's been delayed a couple times, but let's hope this holds true. Not just for my fantasy critic ranking. And that's it for your TLDR game news update. Hopefully that abbreviated it for you. But thank you for watching, and until next time, may the Force be with you.